Hello and welcome to my video on how to set up Adobe Premiere for your video project. First, you have to make sure all of your files are saved in one folder, your folder on the D drive. So I just click on a folder on the desktop, I click on this PC, and I look for the one that has the letter D, Data D drive. And you should have created a folder, so Wolfie's got his on this computer. I also created one. And in your folder, you should have video, images, and your audio files. So don't set up Premiere until you have that set up. All right. Then the next thing I want you to do is I want you to search Google Images for 920 by 1080p, or just click on this link and download the image. So here's something I found. Here's the image. I've already downloaded it, so you don't have to watch me do that. So now I'm ready to open Premiere. And I'm just going to go down to the search bar and type in PRE for Premiere, and here it is, it's the pink box. The next thing we're going to do while this is opening, that's a random text, I'm going to delete that. We're going to open Premiere, we're going to select New Project, and in the name field, we're going to name it Intro and by your name, but we're not done yet. Okay, so New Project, here's the name field, so I'm going to do Intro by, and this is my name, you would obviously put yours. Okay, the next setting says to go to the location field, so that's this one right here, and browse, and make sure that it is going to the D drive. Now I was just in here, so I'm in the D drive, this is the folder. I'm going to say select folder. If it's got your ID number, that is a huge problem. I'm not going to waste time explaining it right now, but it has to be your folder on the D drive on the physical computer. Alright, so we've got our name, we've got the location. Under General, this is because of the new version of Premiere has been crashing a lot. You're going to make sure that it's set to Mercury Playback Engine software only, which is the third option. Alright, and then we're going to go to Scratch Disks, and every single one of these should say same as project. If you see your ID number anywhere in here, you have to fix that. Okay, so they're all set to go to that folder on the D drive. So now I'm ready to click OK. So this is my blank Premiere project. There's no files in here yet. So then the next step tells us to add our clips, images, and audio files. So we're going to do that by going to File and Import. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to File, Import. I'm going to find my folder. So it's already in my folder, but if you don't see it, remember you can go over here to this PC, find the D drive. There's my folder. And I'm going to click, if I hold down the Control key, it will let me select just the files. The pink ones are different Premiere projects that I struggle with. So I'm just clicking on the ones that I want. I hold down the Control and that lets me select them, and I say Open. So give it a second. It's dragging all my files in here. Premiere has been crashing a lot, so I'm just going to go ahead and say File and Save. I'll just save regularly. You can see all of these have a slight gray around them, so if I were to drag them right now, it will put them all on the timeline at once, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to pause for this. Okay, so these things are all selected. They all have the gray around them, so I'm going to click once in here so that they're not selected anymore. And the first thing I have to do is that file that I had you download a minute ago, that has to be dragged over to your timeline first. Whatever you put in your timeline is going to set up your video for the resolution and the shape and the size. So if, like, you know how Snapchat pictures are tall, they're vertical? If I had dragged a vertical image, then my screen up here would be vertical, and that's not what we want. Your TVs and computer screens are wide. So we're going to take this, drag it onto the timeline, and now my project is going to be this side. I can take this clip and I can delete it, but you can still see that my project settings are the right size. So let's check back in on the directions. I'm modeling what I want you guys to do. You can have them side by side if that helps you, or you can print them out and check things off as you go. So we've done this. I drag that 920 by 1080 image onto the timeline. Now I'm going to drag my audio and my images, and then I'm going to cut and edit my audio. I'm going to pause for just a second. Alright, so your audio should look something like this, like a little waveform, wavelength thing. So first thing I'm going to do, see the V1, this is the first video track for images. This is the A1, that's the audio track. So I'm going to drag my audio and I'm going to put it right here on the audio track. It is a little less than 30 seconds, so this is kind of a short voiceover, but it's the backbone. You have to have your audio first. this little knob right here lets me zoom in or out. So I'm going to zoom in. It's still less than 30 seconds. It didn't change the length. It just let me see sort of the ups and downs, the peaks and valleys of this. So it makes it easier to cut. So if I say is a student at East High School, then I'm going to want to grab a picture of East High School and put it right over there. Alright, so let's check back in on our directions. We've added the 1080p, we put everything in, we imported everything, we've dragged the audio on the timeline, and now we're going to drag our images. So, excuse me, I have to import mine because I just got them when I was pausing a second ago. So again, if I hit the control button, it lets me select what I want. And then I click so they're not selected. Okay, so I start with a hello. I'm going to throw hello in there. Then I talk about East High School, so I'm going to put that on there. So wherever this blue line is, that's called your scrubber. That's what you're going to see on your screen in your video. I'm going to go ahead and mute my audio track for a second. So then here's a picture of East High School. You can see that it's there. Notice how there's this like strips of stuff on the side because my picture doesn't quite fill the screen. You're going to do your best to resize all of your pictures so that they fill the screen. So I can double click on this. If I double click on it up here, I get the little bullseye in the corner, and I can use the corners to pull it out. So that looks pretty good. And I can click off. I'm going to put my scrubber over this one. Same thing, double click it and pull it out this way. Or what I can do is I can click on the editing tab, and right here where it says scale, I can just hold down with my mouse and move left or right to adjust the scale. And you know what? I don't want the spires to cut off, and I don't want much grass, so I can actually adjust the position here as well. So you can do that two ways to resize. You can double click, get the bullseye, and then just do it with your mouse here. Or once it's selected, so I put the scrubber on this one, right? And double click it still. Make sure I'm in the editing, and I can mess with the settings by number here. So that's how to resize. Now, let's say I'm done saying hello here, and I don't want hello to last that long. Well, there's two ways to do that. I can just hold my cursor over until it's got the arrow pointing towards this way. I want it to go this way, and I can drag it to where my scrubber is. I'm going to hit Control Z to undo. Or I can use this razor blade tool, and I can click on it, and I can click right there. And then I can switch back to the arrow and delete it. And I'm going to do that one more time. So I can just hit the letter C on my keyboard, and that gives me the cut. So you can do it multiple ways. So I'm just going to cut here. Now if I cut on the green, I'm actually not cutting the picture, I'm cutting the audio. So this is all. You can also cut out like chunks that you want to get rid of too. So you're going to actually, like, just like you're cooking, like chop up your stuff, make it fit the right way you want it to be. So I'm going to chop that, and then I'm going to switch to the arrow, and I'm going to hit the delete key to get rid of that. And then I want East to be next, so I'm just going to drag it over. Well, maybe I want this to last longer because I talk about East for a while. Shouldn't be on the screen for more than 10 seconds because that's boring. Nobody wants to look at the same thing for more than 10 seconds. Okay, so I've got hello, and that lasts about 2 seconds, and then I've got the East thing, and that lasts about 6 seconds, and so I just got to keep filling in my timeline. So remember, you put your 1080p on there first to set this up, and then delete it. Put your audio track on next, then start laying your pictures down. Then you want to adjust the size of your pictures so that they fill the screen appropriately, and then use the cut tool to cut things so that they are timed with your audio. All right, let's see the last thing. We talked about resizing, we talked about cutting and editing. So we actually have two other things, adding transitions and adding text. So it doesn't just go from hello to East High School, we have to add a visual transition. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to click on the effects tab over here, and I'm going to go to video transitions, and each one of these folders are different things. For this first project, you can choose anything you want from the video transitions folder. You'll have to use more traditional stuff later. But like, let's say I want to do this flip over thing. I'm going to drag it right onto the crease here. Excuse me, and then let go. Now watch how this looks. That was flip over. Let's try cube spin. I'm going to drag it over to the crease, let go. It replaced the other one, and now we have that one. So, for every time your images meet up with another image, there should be this sort of little gray transition on there, and that'll show up once you actually start dragging. So that's under Effects in the Video Transitions folder, and then any of the transitions in these folders. You just drag it. And Cross Dissolve, there's another one. So you have to put transitions. So transitions you don't do until you have everything in place and timed the way you want it. Transitions is pretty much the last thing you do. Except for adding text. So there's lots of ways to add text, but I'm just going to show you my favorite way. And I'm going to pause for a second because I'm losing my voice. Alright, the last step is to add text. So I'm going to go to File, New, and Legacy Title. Now, you see where my scrubber is? Wherever my scrubber is, like if this is the background, that's what's going to show up when I go to Legacy Title. So I just want a blank screen. So I'm going to put my scrubber here for now. I'm going to go File, New, Legacy Title, and just say OK. And it gives you a blank screen. There's lots of tools. The main one is I use the Type tool to draw a box. So I need a title screen for my video, so it's going to be Intro to... Ooh, that's a weird font. So actually, the default is this weird font that doesn't work. So I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to pick something else. I like Arial, whatever. You can choose whatever you want. There's lots of options down here as well that you can scroll down to and pick other stuff. But anyway, I'm going to say Intro to Barry Manilow. Let's pretend that my piece is about Barry Manilow. It's not. Okay. And then you also have by and your name. So this is, you need to create a title screen that's similar to this. I can highlight the text. I can center it. I can go here and make it bigger or smaller. Over here under Fill, I can change the color from white to like kind of a gold color. But you still need to be able to see it. Okay, so once you have the settings the way you want, this is the font, this is the font size, this is the color, and here's some extra stuff. But once you have it the way you want it, you're actually going to click the red X right here, which seems weird, but that's what you're going to do. Alright, and now it is over in my project folder where all of my images and stuff are. So I can have it over here, hello. I can drag it over. So now I might need to double click it and adjust it so that it isn't doesn't like cover the hello. Maybe I want to make the introduction to Barry Manilow a little smaller. You know what I mean? So you just hit enter, you double click it, and you can change it and edit it. Okay, so you can have text over it, or what you can do is you can take this stuff that you put on your timeline and move it down and add text beforehand. So this is how you put text with a black background. You don't have any pictures, or you put your text on layer 2 and you layer it over your other pictures. So you can do it either way, but that's how you add text. It's always going to be here. You can't just keep using the same one. Every time you want new text, you need to create a new legacy title. So again, File, New, Legacy Title. Okay, here's my empty screen. Isn't he cool? And then again, highlight it, change it to a real font. Cool. Adjust the size. I can type in a number like 120 if I want, whatever. I can center it. Then I close it. Now it's down here, and I drag it onto my timeline. And this works as an image sometimes too if you're short for something. I gotta add another transition. And there you go. So that is how you add your title screen, how you add and edit pictures using the cut tool or this little arrow. This is how you zoom in and out to look a little closely. And just make sure to save often. File and save, because this program has been crashing a lot. That's it. Thank you.